Hey Dallas,
Hey world,
and welcome to
tit for tat.
This and That.
I'm Alvin,
I am Charles.
and welcome.
Yes.
Today we are going to be talking about the down low man
We are.
and whether they're dateable, uh, get into a relationship with them, whether they are, just really for sex.
Right.
Where they fall at on the down low scale.
Mhm.
100%, 50%, 25%. Where can you get into a relationship or date them wherever where they fall at on this scale?
Yeah.
So anyway, Charles, let's get into this little discussion here. So what do you think? I've been seeing a lot. I've seen a lot of stuff recently, even over the years,
Mhm.
about the DL man.
Right.
I've been in relationships. I have dated, and I've also been in relationship
Yes.
with DL men, and I also have friends, that some are still DL.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think about this topic? And let's get into it.
Okay. Let's get into it. So for me, I feel like everyone has their own preference of how they're going to present themselves in our lifestyle LGBTQ plus community, and some of them fall under the DL umbrella. Even though I don't think that's part of the alphabet, but some of them are because they have not, decided on them being open with it or whatever. And so, some of them call them closeted. They're closeted. And so, therefore, I think if that's what you choose to be, you choose to do that. Because I never want to be the person that apps someone, right? That should be your choice. I mean, I felt like it was my choice. No one pushed me to come out. No one, and some people probably don't even consider me being out. But then others that know me and that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, they know, he's gay, that's my boy or whatever. But some have chosen to not be as open with it, and that's them. I have an issue when it's causing harm to others, when you're deceiving people. That's where it becomes a problem. And you can really tell these people, they usually are very homophobic, extremely homophobic. And it's like, and a lot of people say the church, when a preacher is preaching against it, most of the time that's something that they're dealing with. And that's why you're harboring on it so much and speaking against it, because that's really an issue you're having. And so I hate that when you're making people feel bad for who they are. Just because you're not okay with coming out or okay with, stating, what you like. And then, like we discussed before, some of them are, I guess, bisexual, or some of them are just gay and just don't want to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DL men that I've dealt with, they were, I guess, bisexual because they did have, girls that they dealt with.
So you said you think that you think like you think most DL guys are you think they're afraid. What do you think? What's your version of out the closet? I mean, because you said that some people don't think that you're out, that you might not be out the closet. What do you consider out the closet? And then what about, like, what do DL? I mean, we don't know all the DL men, but I have dated some, and been in a relationship with a couple kind of DL. One was real DL, the other one was kind of DL. How do you think they feel about this subject? As far as, like, do they believe that they're on the DL, or they think they're just being discreet?
Right. And when I say people may not know or may not think that I'm out is, and I say that because I know, I don't wear it on my sleeve, and I'm not waving the rainbow flag or whatever. I'm just being me.
What about when you wear that skirt out?
Well, that's on special. That's on a special occasion.
Special occasion.
Yes, anniversaries and birthdays.
Those 8-inch pussy pumps.
Oh baby, and my legs were so cute in them too, baby. Yeah,
with your hairy legs.
Yeah, my hairy legs. I shave sometimes. If you don't want, all that rubbing up and kissing. Right. I ain't never been in a dress, but no. So some people may think, those are the ones that are out, the ones that are just everything is gay. And I'm just a regular person, but that likes guys, whatever. So some people may not. But yeah, you're right. So some DL men, or what I would consider DL, they feel like it's not that I'm DL, it's just I'm discreet. I just don't want everyone in my business or whatever. And I mean, I get that, but at the same time, and you brought up a good example when we were talking, and you can shed more light on it, is if you were with a girl, you would announce it to the world, and you would tell everybody. Why is it discreet? Because it's with a dude, Yeah,
it seems like when it comes to us, that it does become discreet, or they'll use excuses of why they're not out of the closet, or why, or I'm just private.
Right.
I'm discreet, but you're not when you are dating like we're talking about men now. We're not talking about women or anything. We're just talking about men, black men.
Right.
So, but when you're dating, and I'm sure it happens with the white men too, but when they're dating us, and I'm not talking about just where you just having sex with them casually. I'm talking about where they actually want to date you. Hey, Larry. Where they actually want to date you or try to get into a relationship, because there's lots of DL guys, depending on where they fall in on that spectrum, that want to actually, after they meet you or whatever, they don't tell you that they're DL sometimes right off, or sometimes you have to figure out that they're DL, but they want to date you, or they or you date them and then they want to get into a relationship, but they don't want to acknowledge you. They acknowledge you as long as you're in the house or you're around other gay people where they feel. But out in the public, when they're out there, then you're their friend, or they don't acknowledge you at all. You could be standing there and they totally won't introduce you to anybody. They don't say, this is my boyfriend, or this, I'm dating this person. Or sometimes they don't even say your name. Sometimes they'll say, oh, this is Al.
Right.
I'm using myself as an example. They'll say this is Alvin. Or you can stand there and they never introduce you at all.
Right.
And they're talking to a bunch of different people. But if they have a girlfriend,
right.
We'll get on the wives in a minute. But but say they just met some girl and then they're dating her. They don't have a problem with introducing her to the family members, to church, to friends, or anybody, and say, this is my girlfriend, or we're dating. Right. They won't usually come out and do that to us if you're dating them, because we're men, unless you're with other gay people or people who they perceive as gay friendly. Like there's a lot of women that are, that might know that they're gay or whatever, or bisexual or whatever. They won't have a problem with that because they're comfortable with that. Right. But you won't get introduced to certain people, like church. You will not get introduced to church, most likely, as this is my partner, this is my boyfriend, we're dating, or something like that.
Or like a job function.
Or a job, you might not even get invited to the job function. You might not get invited to their fraternity stuff that's going on or whatever, but they would take a girlfriend, and just say that they were married.
Family
reunions. So you can get left out of a lot of stuff. You almost get relegated to the gay stuff. If you're with somebody who is not all 100% DL, but you get a 100% person that's D at 100%, then you ain't getting introduced to nobody. It's just basically sexual with you. Right. But with the DL men, if you do date them or whatever, you get relegated to the gay scenes or the gay parties or the gay clubs or something where they feel safe. But they will take that woman, that girlfriend or that woman, they will take them anywhere. And they will introduce them they can introduce them to their parents, whether their mother or father like them or not. They
Right.
still would introduce them to them. This is my girlfriend. They would take them to church. This is my
Yeah.
girlfriend, or this is my wife.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to come out and say that, but
Right.
you're not, you know, not all the time. There's exceptions to the rule, but
Right.
mostly there's parts of your life that you're going to have to, when you're with them out in public somewhere or whatever, even if you're not in the closet, you almost become back in the closet,
Yeah.
you know, or put yourself in the closet because you're protecting them,
Right.
you know, you're protecting them because of their fear, you know, or whatever's going through their mind.
Right.
And then, but you're not really thinking about yourself, you know, like, you know, yeah, is this hurting me? Even though you do it, because we'll do it. We have done it to be because we fall in love with the person and we get into the relationship with the
Right.
DL person,
Right.
and we will put ourselves in that position of where we, you know, you almost kind of put yourself back in the closet so you can protect them,
Yeah.
or to keep the arguments or something down,
Yeah.
like, well, why you didn't recognize me,
Yeah.
or why you didn't say this.
Right.
Now, but on the other hand, they don't really want you to do that to them. Like if you get into a gay setting somewhere, then it's a different story. Like, well, you didn't introduce me to your friends and your family, so I'm not introducing you as my boyfriend to this or whatever. And they will get highly upset because you didn't introduce them in this gay setting.
Wow.
But in the straight setting, they don't want you to introduce them. But in the gay setting, they want to be introduced as your boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll get upset with you if you don't introduce them. But they see a double standard of why. I mean, you had that discussion before too, because you kind of agree with that part with them also of why they don't, you know, why they wouldn't introduce you. You understand that part, and I understand it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's still a double standard. It's not right.
It is, because I used to be that guy. I would invite my so-called roommates or friends to church with me. You know, not very often. They probably went with me maybe once or twice, and I would introduce them as a friend because I wasn't out like then or whatever, like I am now. And so I didn't, you know, I wasn't gonna say, hey, this is my boyfriend, or this is, you know, whoever, my lover or whatever. You know, I was gonna just introduce them as a friend. And they knew that. So when we left the place and got back to, you know, our house or whatever, it was never an argument or anything because they already knew. And one of my boyfriends that came to church with me, he actually had a spiritual experience there. So he had nothing negative to say. He actually, in, you know, churchy word, got deliverance. Because he went, and that's probably one of the reasons why I invited him. He was really going through something. And, you know, most of the time, this is how church works. You get there, and the very word that you need to hear, most of the time you're going to hear it. And when I tell you whatever it was, I can't remember what it was, whatever it was he was going through, I mean, it hit home. I mean, he was just crying. He was bawling or whatever. Almost made me cry. You know, he was really, you know, just getting free from whatever it was. But yeah, I was in a situation where, you know, this is where my parents go. This is people that if they knew, you know, that I was gay or whatever, they'd be like, no, sir, you know, whatever. So yeah, so I understand, or I get it why some guys do, you know, hide their, you know, relationship status with you or whatever. But in my situation, they knew where we were going. They knew, you know, that Charles, you know, this is not a gay church or affirming church. I already know that. So there was no like resentment or any arguments that took place after we left the place, even before we went there or after, because I know I respect you and where you are enough to not make this a big deal. But like where I'm at in life now, oh yeah, we'll go in there saying, baby, we're together or whatever. Or if I was the other guy, if I was the guy that was coming in to this another guy's church or whatever, I don't know. I probably would want to be introduced as the boyfriend or whatever. But because I've been there, I would understand if I'm not. I don't know how long I will be in that, or I don't even know if I would even put myself in that. Because I have talked to guys before we even got to that situation, a relationship or whatever. They already put it on the line, like this is what it is. So I have to make the choice. Is this something I want to go through, or is it something, you know, we just good as friends, you know?
So you say, you say this is something that I want to go through. So you have been in those type of relationships, and then so when that issue comes up, since you've already been told that, well, when we go here, then you're my friend, or you're just Charles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you accepted that, but then once it actually happens,
no, I didn't have to. I've never been in that group. I've been the one where that brings them in. I've never been the one that has been brought into that. You know what I'm saying? I was the churchy one.
So you were the one who being the down low person,
yes,
and you were excluding them. So how did you in that moment when you would exclude them or say this is my friend or not introduce them? I don't know whatever played out there. Mm-hmm. So when you did that, how did you feel at the time when you actually did that to that person, or did it dawn on you, or that might have hurt their feelings or put them in some type of mood or something, because even though you had told them that ahead of time, but I think it still hurts once it happens. Even though you might accept it, it still hurts when it does happen. So, but what did you think?
If it was hurtful for them, they never said. Like I said, they already knew that. When you date me, you already know. Well, you know I'm a spiritual person now, but then you knew I was in the church, like I was a leader or whatever. So we've already had that discussion. So you already know this, that you're going to be introduced as a friend. And I didn't date like friends where you can like just tell. I mean, I don't think you could. So they were kind of like, you know, they were just regular boys. They were the guys or whatever. So it wouldn't be like, oh, that's a sissy he with, or you know, that's a, you know, whatever. So right, you know how people talk, or whatever.
So you basically almost you dated people. Did you date people that were on they may have been on the down low too, or you were there people who they thought couldn't tell that you were gay, or didn't suspect that the person may be gay? Do you think a lot of down low men, you know, they date really only date, or not all of them, but some of them? Do down low men prefer to date other down low men? Do you think because it keeps them? Because it's like they're passing, you know, like if you're dating somebody else down low and then they're down low, then you can both pass as masculine and straight, and in society, you know what I mean?
Me, how did I feel doing that? I didn't feel a certain type of way because we had already had the discussion. I never really thought that they would be hurt by just being introduced as a friend. And if they were, I apologize. I'm sorry. I mean, if they're watching or whatever. But I think we all knew. They knew not. I mean, we didn't go in holding hands. They knew all that or whatever. But no, to your point, I think a lot of DL men, they want to play it safe as possible. So yeah, I can see them going for the guy that is passing. I can see them doing that. Yeah. But then, like you said, it's such a spectrum. You have some that, I want a feminine dude because I want to be able to say, I want to feel like I'm a little bit superior or whatever than you, or I want you to feel inferior. I want to be able to say, I don't want to be vulgar on here, but I want to say that stuff is good, but they use another word or whatever. They want to put you in that female role, even though you're not a female, but that's what they like.
So, yeah, but you can, in my experience, dating a lot of, dating DL guys, not all of them, but a lot of the ones that I dated though. If you go by that stereotype, male, who's the male and who's the female, who's dominant and who's submissive. I have dated or not dated and had sex with DL guys, and then there's actually a lot of them. I don't know if it's because when they're with women, they're having the they're the
aggressive one,
they're the aggressive one or the dominant one in the relationship, or whatever. But when they get with you. And if you good at what you do, whatever, and then they, then that softness can come out of them, and then they want to be submissive, and they like all of that attention you put on them sexually, or whatever, and then they can actually be the submissive one or whatever. But then when they get back out, and once they go out the doors or something, then all of a sudden something comes on, and then they're this hyper masculine person again. But they can, and then when they come and see you again, then it's, you know, they're affectionate and soft, and they can be, you know, so if not all of them, they can, you know, they can let go and be their true selves when they're with you. So with the DL men, I got to do DL men usually prefer other DL men, and I'm going to say yes, most of the time they do prefer other DL men because it's safer for them, because they think if, you know, if you're DL, then we can keep each other secret and we can knock boots and shit all the time without anybody finding out, because they think you both think the same.
Or if you're passing.
If you're you're passing, you know, because there's
so
something.
I definitely will not DL when I mess around with the DL men that I was with.
Right. And all DL people are not passing. Some what they consider straight action in the parent. Because some of them, but just in real society, there's a lot of feminine straight men, and they're actually feminine, and they don't have to pass as DL. They're just straight, and that's who they mess with. It's women.
Yeah.
But DL men, they seem to have this something that says, you know, I need to pass, you know, and I can't let anybody know I'm gay. Well, I can't let I can let these people know, but I can't let these people.
It's definitely a fear.
But yeah, I think that DL men do, not all, you know, because there are DL men who prefer trans. You know what I'm saying? And they like that femininity, but they also know that the trans could have their peace.
Yeah.
And stuff, you know, like that. But they like that feminine female quality, and they also get the peace with the dick with it,
right?
You know, or whatever. But
and sometimes you can actually go out in public with them,
right?
And it, you know, no one really tells,
right?
Can tell,
right? If they can't tell, and they think that that's a woman, that they feel safe, you know, like that. But the problem with that is, though, if somebody finds out that that's a trans, we don't know. We know that trans have been killed, beat, because, you know, even though that down low man, they're the ones who sought that trans out, the trans woman out. You know, they're the ones who went after them, and they dated them. They've had sex with them a lot of times, more than once or whatever and stuff. And that's what they like, but they don't want anybody to find out. And if somebody gets an inkling or finds out about it, you know, they go into that protective mode of, you know, like, no, I don't know that bitch.
Right.
I don't know that fag. You know, no, I wouldn't do it. And then they have beat them, and sometimes they have beat them to death over that fear. There's people in jail and stuff now because of that. You know, I have a video right here. This was from a few years ago or whatever, but there was
there's a question for you in the comments.
Oh, it is?
Alvin, have you ever had to be discreet?
From Larry? I've never had to be discreet. You know, I didn't come from that type of background where, you know, where I had to hide being gay, bisexual, straight, whatever you was. That was not it. In my family, you know, we were accepted no matter who or what people the outside world perceives us. And in my family too, they were also protective of us too. So if somebody was to say something about us or whatever, my brothers, sisters, they'd be right on it, you know. So I didn't come from that type of background. But and I've never had to be discreet, but I have been discreet when I've been in a relationship.
Go to the next one. He actually, I think he messed up on that one. No, it's the same one. He didn't finish it. So go to the next one.
And then
it kind of got cut off.
Can't you go to it?
Well, if I just click on it, it'll go? Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So now it's more fun.
Have you ever had to be discreet in any area in your life? Have you always been open about your lifestyle? If not, why? I've always been open about my lifestyle. I've never hid it, but I've never been in society. I've never been attacked. I've never been called, not directly to my face or whatever. I've never been called, you know, a fag or a sissy or anything like that. And even though I'm not out there just wearing it on my sleeve, like you said, you know, if it was on my sleeve, I wouldn't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I've never portrayed to anybody. Is that it? Is it right here? But I've never portrayed to anybody that I was straight, gay, bisexual, or whatever. If somebody asked or they assumed or somebody whatever, then I would be honest and say, well, yeah, you know, yeah, I'm this, you know, or whatever. And I wouldn't be ashamed about that at all. But it's like nothing where I'm just walking out the door saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm this."
Right.
just like I wouldn't be going outside telling everybody, "Hey, everybody, I'm straight."
Right.
Hey, everybody, I'm bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody, I'm gay. I just live and go. So no, I've never in any area in my jobs. They've always known that I was gay. In my life, I don't consider my life private.
Mm-hmm.
It's my life.
Right.
How would my life be private? I'm not hiding anything. What do I have to hide to be private? So I've never done that. But when I've been in relationships with guys or dating guys, and most of the guys that I have dated or been in a relationship with, they all have had some degree of being on the DL. And then so as a means of protecting them, then I never didn't say I was gay or whatever. I just kept my mouth shut. Okay. So if somebody was around and they said something like wondering if now if I was around and they started saying bad stuff about gay people, then I would interject, and then I would come to the gay, then I'm gay. Well, who you're talking about, that's me too. Or whatever. I would come to the defense, even though I don't have to defend us, but I would come to the defense. But I don't when I was with my partner and stuff, like that. If it was people who they didn't want to know and they were secretive and ashamed of being gay or whatever, I just kept my mouth shut. I just didn't say anything. And in that aspect, that would put me in the closet that I have never been in, but I was doing it for them, to protect them. But then it goes back to, but then who protects me? While I'm protecting you, I'm sitting over here feeling bad because you're not introducing me as your partner or boyfriend.
Right.
But then once we leave this event or whatever, then you want to hold my hand or you want to kiss or be in the house and doing all this other stuff. So in the house inside, then I'm your partner, I'm your boyfriend, and I love you and you love me. But outside, then I'm just this friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
So so to answer that question, I have not had to be. I've never hid, and I try to be as honest about everything as possible. Sometimes it can be stingy and or whatever or blunt, but I try not to do that. And I don't like it when I'm with somebody and it happens, but it has happened in the two relationships I was in. Now I can say that the first relationship that I was in, when I met that person, then he was on the DL. Nobody knew except for the guys he probably had messed with before I had met him. Nobody had knew. But he was on the DL. But what I can say, that's how I know that you can get into a relationship with these guys. Once I met him, because he was married, but when I was messing with him, when I first met him, he had already been separated for 3 years. They hadn't conversed or talked or did anything. They were separated and they were going to get a divorce. He just didn't put the divorce in. Okay. But once I met him, and it was almost 6 months before we actually met up and then had sex and then decided to date and stuff, like that. And another 6 months after that, he wanted us to live together. He wanted to move up here from Tyler, and then he wanted us to live together, and stuff. So, and then so before we moved in together or whatever, he told us, I was there when he did it. I didn't force him to do it, because I'm not going to force anybody to come out. I'm not going to force anybody to do anything. Right. You got to do that on your own, on your own time, if you ever do it or whatever. Yeah. But, this is what me and him talked about, but he wanted to do that. So he actually, when it came out to his friends first, which we're going to her party next week, so, and I remember all of that when that happened, but he came out to his friends, everybody accepted it, well and stuff, like that. Then he came out to his sister-in-law, and then his brother was in the army, but so he came out to him some months later. That didn't go too well at first, but then eventually his brother accepted us, and we became, friends and stuff. Right. They'd come here and stay here and spend the night for the weekend or a few days or whatever. But at first with his brother, it didn't go too well, but his brother came around to accept it, or whatever. And then, so they can come out, and he did come out. And after that, he introduced me to he took, I took him to my Christmas holiday parties. He took me to their parties at his job. He would be with it if he met friends or had people and stuff. He would introduce me. This is my boyfriend Alvin. And then we became in a relationship. And I became his partner. And stuff like that. So he wasn't after that. He wasn't ashamed, but at first he was. Yeah. He was fearful and scared to tell anybody. Because at first it was like nobody knew, and you could tell he was scared. Like, oh, how's this going to go? And when he was worried, but then once he did it, it became. And then it relaxed him, and then he got over that fear. And then anywhere we went, this is my boyfriend, and his friends would come up here. We all hang out and stuff, like that. My other one wasn't so, it didn't go that way, because when I first met my first boyfriend, he was 100% in, except for the little guys he would twinkle with on the side. My second one, he was really not in, but he was in. Yeah. So there's places, there's certain places like church or, because his family knew. Some family members knew, and some of his friends knew, but then some didn't. And then the church knew, but he just didn't think that he didn't want to believe that they knew that. Yeah. But the church knows, they knew or whatever. But I was invisible in that relationship to certain people. And then there's where you can see the different dynamics, like different ones of how, and I accepted it. And, like I said, I just sat there and kept my mouth shut or whatever and didn't say anything. And it does hurt and it does sting. But since I accepted it and I allowed it, because people can only do to you what you allow them to do, and I accepted and allowed it. So I just let it go. And it was okay. It was okay. It didn't affect me to where I would want to end my relationship and stuff over, but you can tell that fear or pretending to be this that you're not, it's a double life. Yeah. And it can be tormenting to them too, because they don't really want to do that to you. They feel that they can feel that pain because they feel painful when they actually do it to you also, and you can feel that pain. They don't really want to do it, but that fear is so great in them and the insecurity is so great that they do it. Right. You know what? So I've never been in a relationship with a DL man. When I was with the DL men that I've been with, it's only been, just play. Yeah. Or what, nothing serious. But what I can say is I've been in gay relationships where we were not DL, but you know how you with some people and it's like, and I think it's a fear of the community because, we had this talk earlier, how these guys are just, they're cutthroat. Like they'll date your best friend or they'll date your ex. They just go after anything. So what I'm trying to say is that I've been with people where, like Facebook, on Facebook you can say you're in a relationship or you're not. Then I want that because the minute you do that, guys are gonna come to your DMs or they're gonna come to mine. People that you weren't even on their radar until you say you're in a relationship with people. Right. They don't. So we go out, we take pictures. Don't post those pictures up because, it's like, we're not DL, but at the same time, we don't want to bring all that attention on us or whatever. So that's what, and like you said, the hurt, I never thought about it until you were talking. I did feel a certain way because for me, I wouldn't mind showing the pictures. Right. I don't care. But the guy I was with, he had an issue with it, and I guess, and I understood it a little bit, but at the same time, I guess I did. So I guess I should have been, I should have been more empathetic with the people that I did that to, or whatever. So I guess I can see the hurt, but it didn't hurt me to the fact where I'm like boo-hooing or whatever. I was just like, I want to share our relationship. I want to share the good times, and I can't. I can tell my friends or whatever, but I wasn't able to post it. Like, and he would come to me and say, why do you feel the need that you how I do? Why do you feel the need that you have to post it and show everybody? Right. I was like, because it's a part of my life. That's it. But whatever. But yeah, so I can see it in those type, but it was never with a DL person though. So in my first relationship on Facebook, my ex did change, we both changed our profile to we're in a relationship. Yeah. And he would actually we would take pictures, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. He liked to take pictures. I really didn't like to take them, but he didn't mind us taking pictures with us together.
Yeah.
You know, we went on a cruise. We did a bunch of stuff. We, you know, we took pictures with our friends. We took pictures together. He didn't mind posting the pictures or showing them to people and stuff. And we did change our profile to a relationship. My second relationship, it never got changed at all. And then the pictures, you rarely see me in pictures with my ex, my second ex. But when I was in them, it was like with other friends. It was never us together, really, where with our hands around each other or looking like we were a couple. It just looked like we were with other friends. So you know, and you know why it's like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then you accept it because you accepted the relationship.
Right.
Not saying that we should. We shouldn't have to accept those type of relationships, but because of this culture that we're in, of how society sees, you know, men as, you know, if they're with another man or whatever, they automatically think they're feminine or that they're, you know, whatever. So that's why a lot of, you know, the guys do hide. They don't want to be called a fag or called gay or perceived as feminine, you know, or a bottom, you know, stuff like that. So we know why they do hide, and we know why we protect them when we, you know, and stuff too. And like you said, some of us have been through that. Like you already, because you played the DL on the DL part 2, and you know why you did it. But yeah, in my first one, you know, once he came out, and he was comfortable with that, he, you know, or whatever. But at first he had that little fear, you know, and stuff too. And so I, you know, I think what I say is, you know, if they fall in love with you and you fall in love with them, then usually they're going to start taking little steps to come out. Now, 2 DL men, if both of them are DL, eventually it's going to cause some type of tension in the relationship because one of them's going to eventually get tired of being DL, even if you both start off as DL. I think one of them, you know, eventually gets tired of being DL and not being recognized, and they start coming out, and they may come out a lot sooner than the other one. The other one may not ever come out, but one usually comes out, and then the relationship starts having a lot of tension and stuff with it because once one does start coming out, you know what I'm saying? Then they get comfortable and they start having these friends. And they want to go do this and do that, while the other one still wants to be secretive, and then it causes tension in the relationship, and that relationship usually can end up breaking up because one of them, well, I don't want to be like this, but the other one still wants to be like that, and they want you to be like that, and it can be a hard situation, but I do believe when they fall in love with you, if you fall in love with them, and then if you move in together, not usually, but I'm gonna say sometimes, like in my case, my first one did come out, and then he did get a divorce within that, you know, once he did file for divorce and got that divorce within, you know, a few months of us living together. So it does happen where they do come out, but then there's some who never come out. Sometimes some of these men, they don't come out, and their spouses and them don't even find out till that person is dead. And then they find out they were what? You know, or whatever. Some of them can keep it so underground and on the down low, but most of them can't. Because I think it's tormenting to your soul. I think it's tormenting to you to have to lead that double life and to lie, because basically you have to lie, and you have to you have to lead a double life to keep that going and going, and then it becomes deceitful after a while, and then you start sneaking around, and then you start doing other things that you would never have to do if you were out and proud, you know, or just out. You wouldn't have to do some of this stuff. And they start, you know, like some download, you know, they'll start going to some of these places like the bookstores and bathhouses and truck stops, and doing stuff in the woods and stuff, so they can keep that down low status or whatever. So not all, but there's some that do this, so, you know, to protect, but they still can't, you know, they can be married and have girlfriends, but for some reason they still can't stay away from the guys. You know, even if they try, even with church and God and religion and stuff, they still can't do it, and they're going to sneak around, and they think they're getting away with it, and some of them do, but most don't, because eventually they end up getting found out.
It's definitely a great desire that they have that they just cannot get over. You know, Because I've had someone just told me the other day, like, you know, we can go out and eat in public and everything, but at the same time, I'm restricted on what I can do in public with you. You know, there would be no holding of hands. There would be no, you know, PDA. You know, is that right? Public display of affection. Yeah. You know, there wouldn't be any of that because I'm not out like that. And, you know, and I'm, of course, I don't want to push you out, but at the same time, I do want to be able to do that, just like any other straight couple, whatever. I hate that we have to compare ourselves to that, but, you know, that's what we've seen most of our lives or what we base relationships on. It's like, they can do it. Why can't we do it? You know, why can't I hold your hand? Why can't I, you know, rub on you or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So, you know, but if you're accepting of that and you allow that, then, you know, that's on you. But you do have a choice. You don't have to go into something like that if you don't want to.
And then, and with the public display of affection, you know, there's some straight people who don't like public display of affection, but most of them, if it happens, it's okay in their world. It's like they don't want to see us doing it, right? You know, whatever. Right. Or the down low guy is fear of doing that to us in public, but he wouldn't have no problem walking into a restaurant or anywhere, holding his girlfriend or wife's hand, sitting at the table. They eat after each other. They feed each other. They may drink after each other. They might reach over and give each other a kiss, or they might sit next to each other in a chair. They have no problem with that, but you're rarely going to get that with a DL person unless you're in some gay restaurant somewhere. But if you're not in a gay setting or whatever, they're not going to want to sit next to you. You know, they got all these stereotypes and stuff that stigmas that straight men, you know, they can't eat a banana or can't be seen peeling a banana. Right. They can't sit next to you in the theater. Right. You know, they can't do this, they can't do that because it's always perceived as gay. You know, and so the down low man thinks about that. Now, like we would go into the theater and we'll sit our ass down and watch the theater. Yeah. A person on the down low or straight men, I don't even know if straight men pay that attention. I think it's the down low man who's married or got a girlfriend who pays more attention. Like when we go to theater, we got to put a seat between us so we don't want nobody to think that I'm with you.
My friends used to do that when I was younger. We would go to the movies when I was younger. We're probably like pre-teens or teens. We would do that because it was just a thing. Like, I don't know if I think we're gay, so he would do that. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard of it. I didn't even know that until somebody told me that just a few years ago, and I was like, "What?" Yeah. I didn't even know about the banana thing. That you know, guys didn't want to peel a banana or whatever. I even hear that the straight guys don't want to clean their ass properly because they feel like if you're digging up there, clean it out with the soap, then it makes it's like you're gay. No, you need to have a clean ass.
You really do.
So
straight are gay.
But there's so many stigmatisms that go along with DL and straight and gay. You know, that's so unnecessary. But so what do you think? What do you think keeps the DL man in the closet? You think it's fear, self-hate, overly insecure? I got job, family, church. I mean, it could be a combination of all of that. It could be one or two of those things, or it could be a combination, or it can be something else.
I mean, the foundation is fear. That's always going to be. It's a fear of something. It's the fear of what do you say? Being, you know, you're insecure or you self-hate. It's. I mean, a lot of them are like that. I was with a dude and he had a wife and kids. However, when we were and this was a barber. Yeah. When we were in the barber shop, if gay came up, I mean, oh my God, the whole place would just go up in an uproar because, oh yeah, that gay dude. And I feel bad now because I never spoke up because it's like, oh, walked out, whatever. Because I should have probably walked out. It's like, y'all are talking about, you're actually talking about me. And I'm in here about to give you my money. You know, they would say all this derogatory stuff about gay people or whatever. But at the same time, when I leave out, you're texting me, what you doing tonight? You know, you was looking good at that. And, you know, and you weren't even my barber. He was someone else's barber. And I was somebody else's client or whatever. But they always made that act like, I see you or whatever. And so when I leave, it's like, can can I see you later or whatever? And it was mostly like at the gym or whatever, because we had the same gym or whatever. So it's like self-hate, because a minute ago you're putting us down because something gay was probably in the news or whatever, so they all was like talking about it. Yeah, I ain't with that gay stuff. I ain't with all that. And man, I wish a nigga would, and all that kind of stuff. But then you texted me like, can we meet up in the parking lot or whatever? So yeah, it's the fear, it's the self-hate, all that stuff,
Yeah. So say you're dating, not in a relationship, just say you're dating a down low man and he has a wife or a girlfriend or whatever. So then what does that make you? Does that make you, and you're out, say you're not in the closet, say you're out and whatever. And then does that make you the side chick? Or does his wife become the side? It's just a play on words. Or does his wife become the side chick? Or girlfriend become the side chick, and you think you're the main person?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess to me, when I think of side, I think of who came first. Like, so if you're first, then you must be the main one, and then I'm the one on the side. But if I came first and I'm the main one, then you're the one on the side, because I should be enough.
Uh-huh.
But evidently with these DL dudes, because like this, well, I think most of them are bisexual, right?
Well, I don't know.
Or some of them are like they're either bisexual or they're either gay and just don't want to
right. Yeah, because there's gay ones that 100% gay and they never mess with women, but they're still on the down low. They don't want either the church to know. They're 100% gay, but they don't want the church to know, or they don't want their family members to know, or there's somebody in there that they're fearful of finding out.
The three I can think of, they definitely had relationships with girls. Like one was an older guy. He had kids, so he was with a girl. The second one was the barber. I know he had a wife and kids. And the third one was a co-worker, and I know he had a girlfriend. So they definitely were with girls, but it seemed like that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they thought that, I could give head better, whatever. Because, some people say, nobody knows how to do it better than a guy knows how to give better head than a girl does, or whatever. I wasn't the first one with them. There was someone else that was their main thing, and I guess I became like the side thing, because I was the way to get whatever they had in them out. I was a release for them or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't, that intense, as far as it wasn't something that they needed all the time. It was like whenever I don't know, just something came over them and said, I want to be with a dude right now or whatever. So it wouldn't be like, I need to see you every day or whatever. But it was something in them that drew them to me or a guy or whatever, something they just had to release or whatever. So yeah, I guess I was kind of like the side dude, or whatever, side chick.
And then so you said that if they meet you first, say you've been messing with this guy for about a year, he's a little DL or whatever, but then all of a sudden he decides he wants to get married. Now he's been messing with guys for 5, 10, 15 years, and then but all of a sudden he gets married or he gets a girlfriend. Then once he gets married or has a girlfriend, are you the side chick still, or does the marriage overrule you being on the side?
So for me, I would think I would be the side thing, especially if you still want it.
Even though he's been with you for 4 or 5 years, but and then all of a sudden he gets with a girl and decides to marry.
I just think because I think marriage trumps, whatever we were doing or whatever. So because it's a commitment. Like, you haven't made no commitment to me, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, we just mess around every once in a while or whatever. But for you to decide,
what if you're in a relationship? Y'all are in a relationship with a DL, and then and I done seen it, and they go and get married, even though you're in this relationship with him for 4 to 5 years. But he goes and gets married, or gets a girlfriend and gets married, and you are in a relationship with him too. Mm. Who's the side chick, you or her?
I don't know, Alvin. What do you think? At this point, it doesn't even matter to me because at this point, I'm hurt. I'm upset. Hopefully, this is something we've talked about, and maybe I kind of knew it was coming. I just maybe pretended like it wasn't gonna come as fast, or maybe he'll change his mind. Because I'm pretty sure he's probably made it known to me that, hey, dude, I eventually want to be with a girl. I eventually want to get married and have kids. Hopefully, it's not just something that comes out of the blue or whatever. But I know sometimes they may or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't even care about what label I am. I'm just upset and hurt that this could be the end of us. Or even if you tend to keep me in the picture, it's like, I don't know. What if you DL? I kind of probably already assumed you already had someone else. It just wasn't serious, like a marriage or whatever. So,
because usually what happened is that they, say they were with you, even though they're on the DL and stuff, and y'all are in this relationship, and just say it's going smoothly or whatever. It has a few little hiccups here and there.
Yeah.
But once they marry, they're still going to want to keep you if they can, and since you've already been in this relationship and have agreed to their download status,
right,
whatever, they're going to assume that you're going to, once they marry or get a girlfriend, that you're okay with it, and that you should accept it. And even though they're going to get married and stuff, they're going to slip back around, and so you actually become the side chick because they're, you're not going to be the main one, but they're going to be living with that girlfriend usually, or commit if they're married, then that's who they're going to be with most of the time, and then they're going to slip around to you, so you actually become the side chick in that type of a relationship, and then.
And some people are okay with being the side, whatever. That's now I don't know if it means the same thing, but I know that's now a thing you can put on your on the apps. You know how you can put like, I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm whatever. Side is a thing. I might have to look that up. It's in the Urban Dictionary. Layden, what does side mean?
Like a side chick, or
I don't think it means I'm about to see, but I thought he may know because it's a new term though.
I think like if I had a girlfriend and I just want some Gucci thing like a girl, she my side chick.
Right.
I'm not giving her the same type of attention that I would give my main girlfriend. She's a side chick.
Exactly. Okay. So that's a side chick. So now they have a new term that it's called side. So a side is a homosexual male who prefers more often than not to just engage in other forms of same-sex activity. Like they just want to kiss, they want to do the frontage, rimming, mutual masturbation, fellatio. That's all they want. So that's a side. Like so I can have my boyfriend.
I'm getting all worked up just hearing that.
I can have my boyfriend, but then I can also have a side, which is only the person that just wants to do all that stuff or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's new to me. So they keep coming up with all these two terms.
So do you think DL men are just suppressed gay men or bi men, or do they? I know some will say they're straight even though they're messing with men. But what do? Do you consider them gay or bi if they're messing with men? And not just once or twice, because you can mess with a guy once or twice. That doesn't make you gay.
Right.
You might experiment
just
it, or just maybe something happened and you end up doing that. And you're still straight. But if you're continuously messing with guys and you're on the DL and stuff, how do you consider? Do they? I know they consider themselves straight. Some of them, but then are they really gay men or are they bi men? Or
I would say, I feel like we're still messing around with women that I would put you in the bi category. I wouldn't put anyone in the gay category unless they are strictly dealing with dudes or whatever. But for them to consider themselves straight, I think that's just you're confused. Yeah, you just don't want to admit to who you really are. You are not straight, child. Oh well, but like you said, if you just had to one off, and then you may just be experimenting or whatever. Because there's some gay dudes that they have kids. They you're one of them. But You know, there's some that, you know, that they have kids or whatever, but they've chosen to.
But I've only messed with bisexual women, and the women knew that I was, gay.
And say, I like that
Gay,
they
or
everyone knew.
you know, they consider it bi. You know,
Yes.
I consider myself gay because I'm mostly attracted to men.
To
There's
men.
that little tingle, but
Mhm.
it doesn't make me cross the line
Right,
anymore.
right.
And mostly it didn't even back then to go and do anything. You know,
Right.
but any woman that I have messed with in the past, and it
Mhm.
hasn't been that many.
Mhm.
You know, and I've never been in a relationship with any of them. I have had sex, but I
Okay.
have not been in a relationship with
Mhm.
any of them. But
Mhm.
they, they knew that they were bi,
Okay.
and they knew me too, so it was no issue.
So I like the fact that you said everyone knew that the
Yeah.
problem. Like, if you want to be DL, but when you start lying about it or deceiving people, because most of them,
And
like,
you're deceiving
so
yourself.
all the ones that I mess with, the preacher man, the barber man, and the coworker, that I promise you, they did not go tell their girlfriends or their wives or whatever. Hey, although, you know, I'm with you and we doing whatever, I also am over here with Charles. You know, they didn't do that. So it's like, you're deceiving. You know, uh, but you know, I'm sitting over here okay with it because I already know what the deal is, and I already know that you're not going to be 100% mine or whatever. So I choose to, you know, do that or whatever. Uh, Especially the coworker. This coworker here, but baby, he was so fine and cute to me or whatever. A thing of okay. So this is another thing too. So with him, we were coworkers, right? And from day one, we just hit it off for whatever reason. I don't know if you know how I say sometimes you attract or whatever. I think maybe something in him attracted him to me because he wanted, he saw something in me. And so we just bonded. You saw him, you saw me. You saw me, all our coworkers, they knew. It's like, if you see this person, I was about to say the name. If you see this person, you know you're gonna see Charles or what, because we was together. Then we got to the point where we would hang out after work. So we would go to my house and we would hang out or whatever, and then we would smoke and do like this. Then it got to the point, let's have a threesome. You know that wasn't my idea because we want to have a threesome with a girl.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I wasn't even looking at girls like, I think girls are attractive, cute, or whatever. And I've had girlfriends and all that. But
I have done that.
Yeah, I have girlfriends or whatever. At this point, I'm not even looking at girls like that. So I go along with it because that's what we want to do. And we actually had one girl over, and I think she thought she was just over there to like just hang out with us, which I don't know. But we started trying to make it happen, but it never did, or whatever. And we actually did it with two girls. So at one time, when the girl left, he gonna tell me, I don't really know if I want to do it with you because now he knows. He knows what I'm about. Because at first he didn't. I think that was his way to try to find out if I was gay or whatever. Because right now he just think I'm one of his dudes, one of his boys. But then he said, I think at this point he knows now. He gonna tell me, I don't know if I want to have threesome with you now because you probably gonna be showing me more attention than her. I was like, no, because then the cover gonna be blown, so I wouldn't do that. But I think he was like saying, I expect you to do that. He probably wanted me to do that or whatever. So, but yeah, he wanted to have threesomes and all this kind of stuff with me. I was like, okay.
So you since you brought up the woman, so what are some of the fears women have of, because they have these fears, which could be valid or not valid. Some of them aren't valid and some of them are valid. But they have these fears, of because a lot of them don't even think that they're guys. That most women don't suspect their men of being gay or down low, right? Most women don't. They don't. They're kind of. You got a baby out there. Oh my God.
No, so I'll touch on that later so we can get back to Alvin's question. I do well. She avoided it. She avoided it when she found out that she was pregnant. She avoided it, and that was the last girlfriend I had. I don't think I could. I think something about that relationship just, I don't know. It just took me out the game. I didn't want to be with a girl after that because and she even so normally you have to console the girl. She had to console me because I was like, and I know I wasn't ready for no baby, but I didn't want to make a choice like that. And so she even bought me a card and everything, saying, I'm sorry I made this choice and blah, 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 and all that or whatever. But yeah, maybe I'll see that baby, that spirit or whatever in another life. But yeah, I did have a baby out there.
So
But you were saying something about the women.
The women, so because they factor into this too, because these women, some of them are unsuspecting. Most of them are unsuspecting that their man is on the DL. Now they can have suspicions of their man cheating, because a lot of times women will get those, just like we can get them. We know when we really know, our instincts tell us when we're being cheated on with another man, but women, they know when their husband or boyfriends are cheating on them, but most of the time they feel like it's a woman. They never really go straight to think that it's a man. Usually, their first instinct is going to think that if they're cheating with them with women, a woman or women,
right?
And then, but I think it's kind of strange that the women will have this thing like, well, if they're down low, if they're, when they find out that, or they talk about, like, if my man was down low or he was messing with another woman, they automatically think that they're going to get some type of disease like AIDS or HIV, HIV AIDS or some other disease because you're messing with a man, which is totally false, because they could be messing with a woman and still bring home HIV, AIDS, or gonorrhea, syphilis, warts, herpes, all type of stuff. And it happens all the time. But they automatically go to the man, they find out that they're messing with a man, or when women are talking about it, like, well, I don't want no bisexual man or no down low man or whatever, because they're gonna bring disease to me. But disease can come to you in any form, no matter where, no matter how it comes or whatever. But they do have valid fears, like I don't know why a woman would want to stay with them. And some of them do. Why a woman would want to stay with a bisexual man, unless they're bisexual themselves and they like bisexuality. You know what I'm saying? Or if the guy is down low, now some women do stay with the man because sometimes it's more for companionship or finances and stuff, and they don't worry about the sexual part of it. They help stay in the relationship or whatever and let them go on and do what they're going to do. But most of them don't. Most of them are going to get out of it. But and then they do have some valid fears and stuff, like that. But it's no different than if the man was dating or messing around with another woman than it is with a guy, because you're not going to always catch a disease or something from a guy just because they're messing around. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But the same thing can be said when a woman is messing around with another man or messing around with another woman. They can bring disease into it, or other type of stuff too. But but I think their fear is mainly that they think that their guy's being pegged. You know what I mean? That guy. You're the one being. So you're the one being getting bent over. You're being and they consider you feminine because especially in the Black culture, they like their men to be masculine and over masculine and this. But once they find out that they're DL or bisexual, something, they automatically think that the guy is feminine, or he's being he's the bottom, he's the woman in the relationship, or whatever.
And it's crazy because it's crazy. So I've never, and we'll get to who's this sophisticated one. Thank you so much for what you said, and we'll get to your question. I pinned it. Thank you for the empathy and sympathy. Because I that's the last thing I want to do was abort a child, because they don't have a choice in the matter. So thank you so much for that. So I've never had this conversation with women about how they feel about that, but I'm glad you brought that awareness that diseases can come from anywhere. It's not, that shouldn't be that wouldn't be my focal point. To me, I just feel like you've cheated. You've went out the bounds of our relationship. That would be my first thing. Whether it's a man or woman, I mean, disease will be an issue as well, but I wouldn't think that because he's with a man, I'm more, apt to get it or whatever because it's a man. Either way, if it was with a man or woman, I'm open to that or whatever. And like you said, and so I've also heard too that, so if a guy is, supposedly with women, he's supposed to be playing the straight role. Some of them, when they're with men, they do the opposite. So sometimes, like you said, some of them are worried about if their man is being bended over. Most of them I heard are like they because they get to do you. You know, they're screwing you.
If they're having sex with the female, sometimes they're not having sex with them at all.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
they just married and got girlfriends or whatever to cover up a beard, but they really prefer to sleep with the man.
Right. But I've heard that like if the guy is over here screwing you, so when he's over here with a man, he wants to be screwed because I get that over there. Now I want to feel, you know, I want to feel it coming in me or whatever. So, you know, I've heard that or whatever. With the DL man that I was with, it was, you know, we just messed around. Some of them just wanted head or whatever because you know they felt like I could do it better, I guess, or whatever. And then the preacher man, that was just we just used him for money. We all in college, and he showed attraction to it. So it's like, well, if you want to fund us, come on, fund us, because it was me and one of my friends or whatever. But yeah,
So to answer Sophisticated One's question, you know, DL men, the ones that are really truly like 100% DL or sometimes 50% DL, they're not very easy to spot on the street for straight people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gay people, most of us, 99% of the time, we can spot a DL guy because of the stuff that they do. Okay. Now, you know, most of them, a lot of them, you're not going to spot because they are in the Black community. Some of them are like overly muscular where they stay in the gym, you know, and then they have this, what they call straight acting and appearance, you know, where people are going to think that they're straight and they appear straight because people equate muscular, you know, with masculine, and that's not necessarily true. You know, having tattoos and being muscular, and then they have these beards and stuff, and now you see a lot of them who are thugged out with the you know, just like you might see on TV where they're you know, these straight guys are all, a lot of them aren't even straight themselves, but they give themselves away to the straight people because with the way they're acting, you know, as far as like overly being masculine and sagging their pants, you know, so women don't care that a man's butt is showing. You know, that ain't their interest or whatever. We're the men. Men are the ones who are looking at another man's sagging butt, you know, or something, you know, like that. Or the clothes and stuff that they wear that are tight, showing off all of it. It's the men who are looking at that mainly. Now, women do, but mainly it's men. But this whole thugged out look with the beards hanging all the way down here, the tats and the muscles, and then the clothes that look, you know, thugged out and stuff, you know, like that. Not all the time, but a lot of times those guys are on the DL. And how they will, how they approach you is usually through their eye contact and their body language. So if you're walking, and I'll just give you a few examples here, but if you're walking down the street, or just say you're in the gym, or just say you're in the grocery store somewhere, and then you walk past the guy, and then his eyes, otherwise they're not paying you attention, you know, whatever. If his eyes revert over to you and you revert over to his eyes, and y'all both, it is almost on the side. It's not like it's not usually straight on, like, you know, just bare, you know, looking at somebody. It's usually like you cut over to the side and you look at each other. Okay. And then as you walk past each other, if both of y'all turn around and say you turn around to look, you know, and he doesn't turn back around to look at you, then that's either a gay guy, a bisexual guy, or somebody that's on the DL, you know, whatever. Because otherwise, guys that are 100% straight, they're not gonna pay no attention to you. They're gonna keep on going. They might not even look at you as you're passing by, and if they do look at you, they just keep on going. And it's not that side-eyed look, you know. And then with their body language and stuff, you know, like that. Sometimes, like when you're in the gym, some of the stuff that they wear, you know, just revealing.
You're not wearing it for the women.
They're not wearing that for the women. And then how they walk past you, and they'll use those mirrors to look at you, you know, to watch you and stuff and like that. And they'll come past you with that, hey, sup, you know. And some of them are overly aggressive where they're just in in the gym, and they're just talking about every girl that goes by, every woman they're looking at, because they're trying to take the cover, the cover off of them.
Right.
And so women and other straight men, they may fall for that, like, well, yeah, he likes women, he likes women, but they're really doing that to the cover off of them, or somebody thinking that they're gay, but then they will come and find, later, they can walk out when you walk out, and then it's like stuff, or be in their car,
right.
and they can, wave at you as you walking by, where they might not even say nothing to you in the gym,
right.
or wherever, or they can follow you down an aisle or something in a grocery store, like all of a sudden you over here, next thing you know, they're over there too, and they're walking, and they'll do that little, like what's up, and to give you that little side eye. It's all in that body language and the looks and stuff that they give you, and usually straight people can't pick that out, but the down low man knows they perfected that look.
I'll tell you three of mine. So the three that I know were DL. I'll tell you how I found out to be, or how we got into all of that. So the first one, it was about association. The guy that I hung out with, he was clearly, I mean, you could see that he was gay or whatever, but because I hung out with him a lot, it was like, okay, so he probably is gay too or whatever. So they made that's how they made their move, because it's like, it's by association. So the barber, I think, I don't know, maybe I just had a look or whatever. He thought, he's like, I'm just gonna bet it all or whatever. But also with him, I think he was also on the app. A lot of them hide behind these apps, and they don't put pictures of themselves or anything like that. And so what they do is they'll just put, just a random picture or whatever, and they'll hide behind that to hit you up. So they have ways, and so then, and we can talk more about that, but I'm gonna get to the third one. So the last one, I kind of brought it out of him because we were hanging out. This is the coworker. We were hanging out, and I thought he was cute. I don't know how he felt about me, but I knew there was something there, and I think I kind of, tested the waters a little bit, and he went in for the swim. Okay, so he came on in. So I mean, there's so many different ways, but the apps are really helping them hide behind, like, you don't really have to do it outside now. You can do it behind these apps, and you can speak more to that.
Right. Yeah, in the apps, there's like I told you before, I'm not on these apps no more. I haven't been now. It's probably going on a year and a half, 2 years now. Since I met my ex that I'm ex with now. Once I met him, I got off. I had got off the apps, and then before that, I think I had only been on maybe 2 years or whatever. And they really annoy me. They're just, some people love them, but I just was not an app person or whatever. I was all that silliness that goes on there, and the games they play and the lies they tell. But the down low man that's on there, their profiles are either going to be they're not going to show nothing. They're going to either be almost empty. They might just say, I'm DL, or they may not say anything. They just might be a blank profile with no picture, or they may just have their head cut off, and then they got a picture of their muscular body, or showing pieces of their crotch, or something, like that. But they may show an ass pic or a dick pic. You know what I'm saying? But they're not showing their face.
No.
Now that doesn't mean that all of them are DL. Right. Some of the gays, they actually play that game too, because they want people to think that they DL, because they think that being DL makes them look more masculine and more accepting or whatever. They'll play and lie and do all of that stuff in those apps. But there are a whole lot of real DL men on there. Yeah. And if they're really DL, they're not going to show their face. They show these little body pics and stuff like that. But their profiles can be overly aggressive. And they'll just say just the rudest stuff about gay people. No faggots, no femmes, none of that feminine shit. I'll beat your ass if you, they'll say this stuff in those profiles, all the while still lurking, trying to find something in there, whatever. And then when you meet them, because I done been with a couple of them.
They sissy.
And then they weren't sis, they weren't feminine or sissy or nothing, and stuff like that. But then they become cuddle buddies, and then they're overly taken with you, and they want to come back, and stuff, like that. And then, but their softness comes out. What they put in their profile is just over the top, and that's not really who they are. But they think that it's weeding out the feminine guys, or
Sophisticated one. Oh, I just thought about two or three more. You wait a sophisticated one. This is gonna blow your mind right now. Okay, so I just got in this one right. I'm about to spill all the tea, sophisticated one, and I know they probably gonna be mad at me. But look, so on Facebook, you know how you can be in different groups and stuff. You know, different groups like. You may be like in this, she said, wait, what? Oh my. You know, you can be in, you know, they have all these different groups. You can be like in travel groups or, so the one that I just got in was this bearded group. So this is a group just for men that have beards. So they hide behind that. Mm-hmm. So they get in these groups and be like, hey, I'm a dude, I got a beard. But then underlining on that is like, okay, I'm also DL, and all you guys are dudes or whatever. So you know, the bearded thing is like the facade or like the cover up or whatever.
That makes them look masculine.
Yeah, but I'm really in here to meet dudes that wanna mess around. The other one is be weary of a dude that's always in the gym, especially at night. I mean, you know, or they always like in the saunas or these spas. Oh my God, the spa. I've been in spas where the sauna is where it all goes down or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they'll go in there, you know, DL, you know, just like any regular dude, just in there, sitting in there, you know, pretty much butt ass naked in the sauna or whatever. But when they get that look, you know, you look at me, you know, I got that look. It's like I need that okay, because I don't want to get arrested or put in jail or whatever. She said, I got my cup ready. Okay, get your drink.
Well, I don't know if sophisticated one is a female or a male.
Oh, okay,
right. It's just a sophisticated one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a she or a he.
You're right.
Or what pronouns they go by.
I guess because when she said, "How do you know all DML?" But yeah, you don't really know. But okay, but you can tell us in the comments if you want to.
He or she may tell us if they're female, male, or non-binary or whatever.
But yeah, once I get that okay, that you're down with it, then it all goes down in the sun or whatever. So there's so many ways that these dudes can, you know, get over or you know, get some action or whatever.
So what about
okay?
So what about like just say, how do we feel? Because like when we meet these guys, some of them, like most of the time, we don't know that they're DL. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they have a whole wife at home or a whole girlfriend with kids, and then just say after you done messed with them, like you think you done met somebody, you know, or whatever, you're going out, you know, like they come over for sex, you know, or something, you know, like that. But then, you know, then you find out, just say a week or two later, that they have a wife or a girlfriend and kids. You know, I know that in our relationships, we want to be, you know, a lot, not all, but, you know, like I like to be monogamous in my relationship. Yeah. But then it's like, I done messed with this man and then find out that, you know, because I didn't know it first, but then I find out that you have a wife or kids at home. Right. And then you're in this dilemma because you actually started liking this guy and then you find out that they're actually DL and then they have a wife and stuff. So you really aren't going to get anything out of it but sex, you know. But the thing of it is, we just, do you think like because they did have a wife that you just messed up somebody's marriage or something, even though that's the person who came after you? You didn't go after them, they came after you. But it's the infidelity part, because in my relationship, I like to be fidel or whatever I like to be fidel, not infidelity, but I like to be monogamous, you know, or whatever. Yes. But here I done messed with this man, and then I find out that he has a wife at home. So I just really myself just end up not breaking up, but you know, I just came in.
You were a part of it, but you were lied to though. Or you never was told that.
And then what do? Do you still keep seeing? Because then they want to still see you or try to, you know, and then you're kind of torn, you know, because you already done mess with them. But then it's like, do you still keep messing with them? And then what do you become? That means you can become a home wrecker, even though people have wrecked your, and we don't like it when somebody wrecks our home or our spouse is cheating on us, you know, or whatever, they're cheating on us. We don't like it and it hurts. But then here's this person cheating on their spouse with you. Yeah. You know, and it's that's like a catch-22. And then they want to still keep messing with you. And then, you know, it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then because they do these lies. They lie and then they'll cry and they'll do the manipulation thing and stuff too. So I mean, how do you feel about that? Because basically you did, I mean, you didn't, but they did. But once you know, and then you still mess with the person, does that make you? Do you see yourself as a bad person or a home wrecker and stuff too? Or do you let that relationship go and say, okay, we can't mess around anymore?
So I guess when it's discovered that this person has a whole other life to me, I don't think it, and I might sound bad for this, but to me, I don't think it really matters to me because I didn't lie. I've been clear about everything. Most likely you approached me with all of this and brought all this stuff on me. I didn't break it up. It was broke up when you decided to, break it. Not me. I was just, an innocent, whatever. Do I feel for that person, the girl or whatever? Yeah. Because I don't like to be cheated on or whatever. I feel like if it's everything is good, that sex is good, the way he's making me feel is good and all that, I don't really want to let that go or whatever. So, I mean, I guess the moral issue would be to, hey, you need to go and work that out, either work it out with her or get a divorce or whatever it is. But I don't know if I'm at that point yet, because if I feel like this is benefiting me, I'm getting something out of it, I don't want it to stop, but I will feel deceived that you didn't even let me know that all this was going on or whatever. But I think you kind of know even before they tell you, because it's like, why you only see me at this time of the day?
You come over at 10:30 at night after you go to the gym. Because they will, to answer sophisticated questions too, they will go to the gym late at night, and then hang and tell their spouse and them that they're going to the gym, and then after they go to the gym and take their shower and stuff, then they come over to you, and then they come over to you, and then they go back to their spouse. But this is before you maybe even know that they are married. But then you start questioning yourself, like, well, why are you only want to come over at nighttime or certain times during the weekend or something?
Yes.
What why are we going out to go do this or do that? Right. There's just a lot to it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard, if you start, because they can tell you that, oh, we're I want to date you and stuff, like that. I just want to see you or whatever, but then they actually married.
Right. Exactly.
You find out that they're married, and all of a sudden you already put some of your heart into it, and the next thing you know, it's like, how do I, now I'm back here, and that whole DL thing is just a whole catch-22. It is just, or whatever, because we do fall for those guys, and it's hard sometimes to let them go. It's just like recently, I've been single now for several months here, and then every guy that I have met, they haven't told me they're DL, but I figure out that they're DL. Yeah. And then it's like, I'm not going to really get anything out of this, unless I want to play this game, or, and then just be your friend, be your sex partner or this or that, or date or whatever, do this, in this situation, but over here, then I'm back to where, I'm not acknowledged or whatever. Right. And every single one of them, none of them have told me that they're DL, but I have figured out, I can tell the signs, and the stuff that they say or do, I can tell that, that they're DL. Yeah. And then I kind of pull back. Okay. I just pull back because now I'm wiser, and I, and I know better, so, and like I told you, I have my little therapy session once a month now. At first I was going twice a week, but now I have it once a month, and I'm learning things about myself. Even at this age, I'm learning things about myself and the world around me, and these type of guys that I've been meeting, and where I accepted stuff with them before. And then just talking to y'all, my friends, Larry and Dre and you, and just talking, and then hearing other stuff, I'm starting to realize stuff about myself now too, that I don't have to, be with those type of guys, and to cut it off, early.
So you said there were signs. Help the people. What were the signs that you saw?
Of different ones.
Of the since you've been
Okay.
single for what?
So just say you know, and I don't know if this guy's going to be watching, you know, if they do. So, you know, it's just what it is. We had the conversation, you know, I'm not mentioning any names,
No names,
but, you know, just like, you know, recently I had went out on a date, you know, with, you know, we were at a party and I met a guy, you were there. And I had met this guy, you know, cute, fine, everything and stuff like that. And then, you know, but then we went out on a date, and then while we were on the date, we left the restaurant, and then he all of a sudden just pulled me over while I'm driving, and he pulled me over and put this kiss on my lips, right? You know, and I was like, you know, I said, well, let me finish driving. When we get back to your place, because I was, you know, he was riding with me. I said, when we get back to your place, I'll give you a good kiss. You know, I'll give you a better one, right? And then so,
just real.
And then so I said, I'll give you a better one. But here's the thing: when we got back to his place, when we pulled up in front of his apartment, I was reaching over to give him a kiss, but there was a guy outside. Okay, and he was taking stuff out of his car. Well, this is how I figured out the guy was DL right then. You know, it's because he was like, oh no, right here. He said, oh no, that guy's out there. He said, pull down there. You know, so we had to pull away from his apartment and drive down into another slot where there was nobody looking or nobody around in order for me to give him the kiss that I had said I would give him when we got back to his apartment. Right. So me and him end up getting up. So I asked him, I just came out and I said, so are you DL? Right. You know, and he looked at me real curiously. He was like, DL? He said, why would you think I'm DL? He said, I'm not DL. So then we got into the discussion. And then it turns out his family didn't know, his church didn't know. Only a few of his friends knew. You know, like maybe what he called his I forgot his bros. I forgot what he called them, but it was like maybe 3 or 4 of them. Those are the only people who knew. He actually had a son too, and his son didn't know. Okay, so nobody knew that this guy was gay, you know, or whatever. And then he lives here, but he used to live somewhere else. But he lives here now. And I think he came here because he could have more freedom to go do stuff. But nobody knows he's gay. I wouldn't get anything out of that. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know he was. When I all the signs, you know, because when we saw him, he seemed like all the rest of us at the party. Yeah, exactly. I didn't figure. I didn't have no signs that he would have been DL or anything. Even with me and him talking. And then his job didn't know either. You know, or whatever. That's somebody that even though he's gay, you know, and he does have a grown son, but never been married, but he does have a grown son with grandkids. But even though he was gay, he was still basically 100% with that little, I'm gonna say 98% down low, because he had the 2% where he might run into a gay club or run into a party with some friends, but he feels safe and stuff there. But outside of there, the only thing you're going to do is be able to sit at his house, watch TV, cuddle, go to sleep, have sex or whatever, maybe eat dinner or something, but you're not going to be able to go anywhere with him. Out in public. You can go places with him because he perceives you as perceives you as passing, straight appearing, and acting just like he assumes he is too. So, you know, but you're not going to be introduced to anybody. And we had that conversation, and that's when he was like, oh, well, I guess I am DL. But at first he didn't think he was DL. You know, and then there's also other ones, you know, where, you know, you go with them or something, and then you can't, you know, you got to go a certain place to eat or something, or you got to go do. There's different things where if you're with a down low person, that they ain't going to want you to do. And again, you can't be in the grocery store and actually touch their hand or actually brush up against them, or you brush shoulders and y'all comparing pricing and stuff. That's too close. You know, places like that. You go to restaurants and stuff with them. They're too busy looking around to see who is looking to see if, like, you know, there's a lot of paranoia can go with that and stuff. So
that's another thing too. I've noticed that they never want to, you know how they say don't.
Hey, Jazbreel.
Hey. You know how they say don't.
We're doing good. How you doing, sir?
Don't. What is it? Don't do something where you work or something. Or don't shit where you something. Whatever. They want to go out of the neighborhood to take. You know, they don't ever want to do anything right in there, because these are people that know them or whatever. So they're gonna take you way out far where, you know, no one would know us or whatever. So yeah. Things like that.
We got some good questions coming in here. You know what I'm saying?
And we about to get off.
One in there. Yeah, we about to get off here in a minute. A sophisticated one said, I thought this one guy liked me last semester, but but he only stared and never approached. Well, he did like you.
Yeah.
Actually, he did like you, but some guys will not approach you. You know, they gotta play for a while.
Mhm.
You know, they gotta make sure that they think you're safe.
Right.
You know, and if they get the inkling that you're not safe, even if they do really like you and want to approach you or find you fine or sexy, you know, or whatever, they may never ever do it because it might be too many other people around that you know, or you know, they don't want anybody to think that they're going to be found out. So that person would probably have to figure out a way to maneuver around all of that to get to you, you know, and then they got to figure out whether you are going to play along with that, with their down low status also. And if they get the inkling that you're not going to play along with it out of fear, they're going to not even approach you, or if they did approach you, they're going to back out of that, you know, or if they do mess around with you, once they find out if somebody else suspects or whatever, you're going to be dumped.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
but yeah, if you're probably, your instincts of this person probably liking you is probably true, you know. And the other thing is, you shouldn't go approach them because that can be dangerous, you know, because they usually are the ones who have to approach you, because if you approach them, they're most of the time they're going to run, you know, or they're going to be like, you fag, you know, so and so, as a defense mechanism or whatever. So with down low guys, most of the time they have to come and approach you.
Well, they may try to fight you, you know.
Yeah, they can, you know. That happens a lot with trans when, you know, or gay, with gay guys and stuff too. They can be messing with you for a long time, but if somebody finds out, or they think somebody has found out, then you can be abused, you know, or they can take it out on the person, you know, who they're with, the other person, their wife or their girlfriend. They can be abusive to them, you know, or whatever. But a lot of times you can be abused and you could be abused and then, or beaten and killed. That's happened to a lot of gay people, and it's on the rise. It's been on the rise for a long time with trans.
Yeah.
They really, because these guys will go after trans women, and then they will go after trans women, and then and like it and continuously go after them. But if somebody finds out, or somebody walks by and they think that somebody thinks that they're with a man, you know, whatever, they'll beat the shit out of that. They'll beat the shit out of that trans, or have killed.
Dwight Howard was just in a similar situation, you know. I mean, it's been said over years that he, you know, messes around. And I think one guy came out and said, you know, that he tricked him into being with him and a trans or whatever. And, you know, he was basically trying to out Dwight Howard. And Dwight, I don't think he really addressed it, but he did say, why what I do in the bedroom, why does that matter to you? Why is that such a big thing?
Right.
You know, it shouldn't matter who I sleep with or what I do in the bedroom. Why is that anybody's business or whatever?
Because it makes, in the Black community, that makes you feminine and not as masculine. You know, because women and other Black men perceive masculinity, you know, as being a man. To be with to lay with another gay guy or a trans or whatever, then you're considered feminine, you know, whatever. And you know, being gay is, in the Black community, they can act like that's the worst thing in the world. You can go murder somebody, steal, you know, beat the shit out of somebody, do all that other type of stuff. They'll come see you in jail and do all other type of stuff. But you say that if they think that you're gay, a man, if they think that the man is gay, and so for some reason they act like that's the worst thing in the world, and you're going to hell, and God this, the Bible that, or whatever. They use that, you know, but they'll forgive everything else. But that gay thing is just so hard for them to give up. They make it think like you're less than a man if you're gay. Right. And then Jazreel, he says, why was he DL? Well, the reason why he wouldn't really admit that he was DL till the end of our conversation, but he says the reason why is because he has grandkids and he doesn't want to bring any shame or any hurt or violence or anything towards them. And if he was to come out as gay or say that he's with a man or whatever, he feels retribution from the straight community or like his family or whatever would like maybe cause his grandkids and stuff harm or pick on them and stuff, you know, like that. So, you know, And it ain't up to me to bring people out the closet. It ain't
Yeah,
up to me. It's just not up to me to tell them when they should come out or how long it takes or whatever. I have to almost worry about myself, like, you know, can I take this? You know, this has gone on too long, so, you know, then I have to probably step out of the situation or whatever.
Yeah.
And most of the guys I do meet, for some reason, I mean, I kind of know, but a lot of it, they are DL. It's not that I want to meet all these DL guys. It's just that it seems like that's what's attracted to me, you know, and sometimes I'm attracted to them or whatever. But I do remember meeting this one, you know, last year, before I met my ex that I'm ex with now. But before him, I had met this guy and he was 100% out. And I swear he wasn't masculine and he wasn't feminine. He was just himself, you know, and you could see a little bit of everything in him, you know, and he was just young. You know what I'm saying? He was just really too young for me to be like getting into a serious relationship with or whatever. You know, he was like 25 at the time, you know, but he was so fun, you know, cute, nice body, you know, just cute. He was fun. He was out. We would go places, you know, go to the zoo with his little nephews, go to Chuck E. Cheese. We would do all of this stuff. And he was not afraid to introduce me to anybody, to say this, to touch my hand, to take a fork and put some food in my mouth, you know, share an ice cream cone. We would be somewhere and he didn't mind just planting a big old kiss on me. Do you know, I just ate that up because that's not what I was used to as far as like dating these guys, except for when we were behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, they're all over you and it's just like blah, blah, blah. But out in the open with this guy, you know, that's really the first time I had met somebody that was like that. And I ate it up, you know, but I knew that he was just, you know, too young for me at that age and stuff, you know, like that. But he was more in tune with himself than any of the guys that I have actually ever met before. And my friend Larry met him too, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. So, you know, but, and, you know, and I liked him, but I knew I couldn't go into a deep relationship and stuff with him. But he was out and, you know, proud and he didn't care. You know, we went just the places we went and stuff. And I wish we could all be like that, but that's not our case. You know, especially in the Black community. You know, white people do whatever they want. You know, when they come out, and they'll do, you know, they go on, but for some reason we have that stigmatism to us where we have to portray this macho, masculine, over toxic energy sometimes.
And then we're in the Bible Belt too, so that makes it even,
So, but yeah, that was the reason why he, you know, what he had said to me.
Okay. So that's the last question, right?
He says,
they're talking to each other. They're talking to each other.
Ooh, wow. He stared at me every day in class. He's school football player. Yeah, I done those too. Them football players are and then
I like to see that y'all are chatting with each other, interacting with each other. That's nice. I like that.
He just stared at me all the time. Our classroom has 2 doors, one in front, one in back. I sort back door. He sits by the front door.
Yeah. Well, as far as, so for me, closing, because I really have nothing else to say unless you have anything else.
He even started coming through the back door, walked past my desk and stared at me. I thought I was crazy. You weren't crazy. He was cruising you, but he was doing it on the DL. That's what he was doing. He was giving you the signals and stuff, you know, like that. But you still would have probably have to let him, you know, you can give off your signals too. If you're gonna mess with the DL man, you just got to know how to give your signals off too without him thinking that you're gonna blow his cover. I'm not telling anybody to go out and do that. I don't recommend doing that or whatever because it could be dangerous. But he was sending you the signals and to see if you're going to, you know, eventually he can get to you, you know, or whatever, and how he would be able to get to you on the down low, you know, and he was watching you and stuff to see how you maneuver through this world. Yeah. So true. Yeah. So
that's how they do, child.
He said cruising me, oh my. Yeah, that's what he was doing. Yeah. And DL men, they cruise all the time. You know, but it's the way that they do it. You know, you got to watch that body language, that look off to the side of the eye, you know, and or if you walk past somewhere, it depends on where you're at, they may not do it, but you could be somewhere where not a lot of people are around, and you walk by and you look at them as y'all pass each other, y'all get that eye contact, you're looking at them, and then if you turn around and then if you turn around to look at them and they don't turn back around to look at you, that's a DL guy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a straight guy ain't gonna pay you that. Okay, they're gonna keep on walking. You know, not all the time, but most of the time, that's how you could really tell a DL guy. And all of these
is Craigslist, because yeah, some of them still do that. I don't really go on Craigslist or the hotlines. I remember the hotlines back in the day, but like I said, most of them they hide behind these apps now. The apps make it so much easier, or these little Facebook groups or whatever, or even what I was gonna say, even the apps that we think are for straight people, like Tinder or whatever. Some of the guys on Tinder will try to talk to other dudes.
Mhm.
So you can be on a so-called straight app or whatever, but the dudes will talk to you through that way too.
and the guys can be using Tinder as a cover up
Yeah.
because they know that it's a straight app for straight men and straight women.
Mhm.
But the down low men are on there too,
Yeah.
and then they're hitting up other down low men on there.
Yeah.
Because they think because they're on there that the other women and men who see them
Mhm.
who are straight ain't gonna pay them be no attention because they're gonna assume that they're straight too.
Yeah.
But they're really gay or bi and on the DL.
You said what is Craigslist? It's like most people use it to sell stuff or to like maybe post jobs or stuff like that. I think it's on the internet now. I think it always was. Like just put in Craigslist.com or whatever. You can get jobs on there. Some people sell furniture. It's all kind of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is Craigslist still out there?
Online though, what was it before it was online? Was it always online?
I think it was online.
Or in the newspaper or
I think it
something?
was online, but they did. I know Craigslist had some issues or something, or one of those things had some issues because guys were on there escorting,
Oh yeah.
and women were escorting and stuff too. I think that they had.
It's still out there because there's an app. Craigslist now has an app.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking for a car, I was looking through it in Craigslist as well. That was one of my sources.
Okay. So, anyway,
Final thoughts.
yeah. What's your final thoughts? Let me.
I like the sound effects and all.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
You're so easily amused.
I'm so amused by that. I love it. Alvin found something new for us. So you guys like, share, subscribe, leave comments, share, get notified. But so my final thoughts after we discussed all that, and I just thought about everything, and it was so funny that I actually talked to someone that I consider DL. And the main thing that came up to me was I'm going to be a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be that. So when you enter into these relationships, know what you want. And I think we've probably said that on everything we talked about. Always come into these, relationships or what have you, knowing exactly what you want out of these. I know we talked about that as far as the dating and, all that kind of stuff. But I, at this time of my life, don't choose to be a secret. We've said it more than once that we can't force anyone to be out or whatever. They have to come out in their own time. But yeah, know what you're willing to put up with. Some people are okay with it, and they don't mind being a secret. They feel just fine. But for me, I think it's important to be honest. Even if they aren't, you be honest. I wish they were more honest, but that's what makes them DL pretty much is that, there's some lying involved or, someone's being deceived, either you or the other person that they're dealing with.
Or both.
Or both.
Usually both.
Yeah, usually both of them. But just always know that you have a choice in the matter. You don't have to accept anything that you're not ready for or willing to go to, be a part of. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about your choice. Just know your self-worth. You don't, I mean, there is someone out there that's going to give you everything you're wanting. Because with me, the DL just won't be enough. Because I do want to be able to go out in public. I do want to be able to share our relationship. I do want to,
I do want to say that you're my partner.
Yes.
My boyfriend.
All that. So
Or
that,
dating.
so for me, that would not be enough. But so you have to just figure out, what you're willing to deal with. Yeah. And that's pretty much what I have.
And then, I agree with that too. So the spectrum of DL men, I would say, it says, how would each percentage affect how they maneuver through the world and their relationships? I would say if they're 25 to 50% DL, you probably got a shot of having a not right off, but eventually having a relationship where they actually eventually come out of the closet, what we call coming out the closet, whatever.
Yeah.
I think with a 25-50% chance. I think if it's over 50%, then your chances of them acknowledging you in public or having a real relationship with them, an open, honest relationship with them, I think it's nil or null. I think it's next to zero, because they're going to be too busy. And a lot of times when they're 100% DL, most of the time they do have a girlfriend or they're married. And so you're really not going to get nothing out of it. Sometimes the 25 to 50%ers, they're really gay or bisexual, and then they can maneuver in between both worlds. Even though they still could have dual lives, they still can maneuver in between both worlds, and eventually, they eventually come out because they usually get tired of that hiding and being deceitful and not being able to express their love if they love you, their love for you the way that they want to in public. So eventually do come out. Usually over that 50% mark, I don't see them coming out. And then usually that could be dangerous too, because they're so afraid of somebody finding out and stuff that you can end up beaten, killed, or they're angry and nasty towards their wife or girlfriend because they really want to be with a man. So then they end up, they're overly nasty or whatever, or treat their wives or girlfriends bad or not with respect and stuff because that's not who they really want to be with. But they feel like they have no choice, so they got to live this dual life. And they may come to you and treat you like really nice behind the closed doors and love up on you and do all the other type of stuff, and then leave there, and then they get resentful and go to their spouse or girlfriend and be rude and mean to them, or abusive. All type of behaviors come out when some of these men are DL. Some of them have so many different type of behaviors that they have been used to doing for so many years that even if you get into a relationship with them, they don't stop those behaviors. And then you end up either going to have to deal with it or leave the relationship because it's going to be detrimental to the relationship because they have all type of tendencies. And a lot of them can be narcissistic, and stuff that they've built up over time of hiding, and a lot of times that cruelty can come out when they're dating you or whatever.
Bye, Larry. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, we're about to leave too.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we're about to leave also. But anyway, what does Jabril say? Thanks, and I want to know too what all the signs of new men are.
Yeah, you have to go back and watch the video. We named some of them.
Yeah, we named some of them early on.
Yeah.
And I'll put it back up here real quick. Some of the signs just before we leave here. Let me see.
They're making friendships out there. I love to see that. It's a nice meeting with you, Larry.
There's anyone else required. And then here, I had just put that up right there. And I'll put it back up there for you. But you know, a lot of times these men go into the gym and stuff late at night. And I go to the gym, but I don't go there late at night. And I ain't going into the shower, the jacuzzi, because I know what they do back there. And I'm not going into any of that stuff. I go to the gym, then I leave. You know, I don't go back there doing all that type of stuff. But you know, to each his own.
Right.
You know, but I don't feel like I could get into a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want a companionship relationship, you know, whatever. I don't want to be with somebody who is going to be doing all that infidelity, all that dual life and stuff. I don't want any of that type of stuff anymore. So,
Right.
you know, and I don't want these guys who are, you know, they say they want to be in a relationship with you and they come after you, but then they're back in the damn shower, jacking off with somebody. You know, that's they do that while you're single.
Right.
You know, have no problem. If you're single, do whatever you want, but
Right.
don't get into a monogamous relationship. Either get into an open relationship or a throuple or something like that. But don't get into a monogamous relationship and say you want a monogamous relationship and you're still out there messing with all these different other guys or women. And I think women feel the same way too. Don't marry me and get into a relationship and say you want a marriage and you want a monogamous marriage, but then you're out here messing around with these guys on the down low, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they feel like that too. And I feel the same way, you know. I don't want to, you know, just leave me alone, you know, whatever. Unless it's just going to be sexual and we're going to be sexual and just casually date and then do that or whatever, that's one thing. But as far as like trying to get in, I don't really want to be in a relationship with a down low guy anymore. It's too much work.
Nice meeting you, too sophisticated
All
and
right.
that's real.
And guys and girls,
Larry, thank
ladies,
you.
whatever, y'all, you know, subscribe to our channel. You know, watch some of our other videos. We really appreciate you all tuning in.
Yes,
And
thank you.
we may revisit this topic again. You know what I mean? There's some of these topics we're going to have to revisit again. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much to them. We can't even get it out. And look, we try to do 45 minutes, but we tend to go over
We'll be going like 2 hours.
an hour, 30 minutes,
It's
2 hours.
almost 2 hours. Yes.
Right.
It's-
We're sorry. You know, we just get to talking and you know, but you know, watch 10 or 15 minutes of it and come back later and watch another 10 or 15
Yeah.
minutes and then come back later and watch another 10, 15 minutes if you can't watch it all. You know, subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate all of you.
Yes.
And then we'll get to your comments. Any comments that come in after we sign off, we always get back to your comments in a day or two. All right. But thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, and we really appreciate it. And thanks for joining Tit for Tat.
Yes. Have a good week.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
I hate I came in like, oh, I know, but yeah, just go back and we share a lot of information. Just go back. Thank you guys again. We'll see you next week.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye,
everybody.
y'all.
Thanks for joining Tit for Tat.